Okay, so we have some exciting news to share with Jira and Vansah, the test case management app native plugin for Jira. We've introduced more columns. So the more columns you have, we understand, gives you more data that's visible straight from the screen. And for those that currently are using Vansah, they know that if you click on Vansah, you can see your test repository for the project. By default, the typical columns that we were able to see are columns like result to give you the latest test result for a particular test case, a column that says script, which obviously just quickly indicates that there's a test script attached to the test case, and the column key that we all know that is first prefixed with the project key. So the project we're logged into Jira, then it's obviously prefixed with the test case number, the headline, which is the summary of the test case, the type, priority, and some more options. So that's been working for most people to date, but we've been listening and we've seen there's so much comments and feedback as to when can we see more columns. As you open up your test case, we know that there's data related to potentially the component that the test case is linked to, the label, assigned person, assignee, things that are related to a test case that needs to be visible and searchable from within the repository. So what we've done was always realize that we need to someday include more columns that could be saved as your preference view. So in the latest version, when you log into Jira and you have Vansah, you can see the top right hand corner that we have our default columns that I've just described. However, you could select all the columns, or let's go through that just to see what's changed. So we now have assignee, created by, created date. Obviously, these are the created by and created date of the particular test case. The updated by, who updated that test case. So if someone's changed the test case, it could be any property. Vansah captures that, and now you could see the modified date, any linked issues. So obviously with test cases, we need to have that traceability to the Jira issue, and that's where you see the test case under the Jira issue. But if you do have any linked issues to a test case, you'll see that via this column. Component, if you have component enabled for your project in Vansah, you could sort of see that label. Test run key, very important. Obviously, that's the actual test run number, the latest test case run for that test case. Any issues that are linked to the test run, you'll see that now in the actual Vansah board. And test run attachment. So any screenshots, attachments that you've attached to the test run are visible. Very important columns for most software testers or anyone that's managing software testing for their projects. A lot of new columns are now visible from there. So let's go ahead and test what that looks like. If you select all and click on save, you'll now see all the columns, and at the bottom there'll be a horizontal scroll for you to go through and see all the columns that have now appeared. Each one of these columns are definitely selectable, so you can sort by ascending and descending order by the particular column of choice. But this has been the latest changes that we've actually just introduced as in the new release 1.26, I believe, which has been the latest sprint. But anyway, the key things, we are releasing some changes earlier than expected, and that's because we've tested it and verified it, and we're happy to release it prior to the official big release that's expected in September 2022. So some of these now, let's go through that. So what do we see? So we see the result, which we talked about. You can click on that. We can sort by, let's see all test cases that have a script. That's where that now takes into effect. The key, that's obviously the test case key, so we can click on it as well and open up the test case. And let's look at some of the new things that we can see. So who's created this test case, created date, column, updated by, modified date, so when it was the last modified. And now the key thing is the issue link. So all the traceability to the actual stories that this test case is linked to can be seen here. You can select the issue key directly, open that up in another tab, and that will go straight to the particular issue that we have that's linked to that test case. And you can see the test cases, and that the test case that we've been looking at in here is 649, and we should see 649 appear in somewhere here. Here we go. So that's the test case that is linked, and we can see that here as well. So the other things that we've introduced is seeing the label. So if you've linked a label, which are your Jira labels, against this test case, you'll be able to see that. The other great thing is if you have more than one issue linked to a test case, you can quickly open it up in the search navigator. So that just opens up Jira search, displays those 2 issues that have been linked to that test case, so making it easy for you to save that view if you require, the test run key and the attachments. So if I wish to sort for any test runs that have attachments that are linked to it, we could sort of sort the other way. That gives you, here we go. There we go, look at it. So this particular test run has 10 test attachments linked to it. So all the screenshots that are linked to that test run will appear here, right? So you can see what I mean. Any sort of anything that you've attached to that test case run will appear here. So that's been really about it. So what's coming up, will make that really exciting to sort of share, is we can, by the way, we'll just restore the defaults now, sort of, and go back to our original view. This is the original view. So what's coming up with these columns is you definitely will be able to save these columns along with the filters. So if you sort of have multiple views that you wish to keep and save in your project, sort of, they could be, you know, anything that's sort of suitable to help you identify and find test cases, that would be coming up in release 1.3. But what we've released today is really just the ability to sort of quickly search and sort of add columns there, so we can sort of save those columns in the next release. But any feedback, any comments you have, and we'd suggest that in this video at the bottom, or head to community.vansah.com to really give us more insights as to what works for you. But this is our commitment to give you latest and greatest features early. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date as we release new content. Until next time, Fadi Hawli.